I absolutely love birds. I love to see them in my garden, and I'm really sad that I don't get to see hummingbirds. We don't have them here in the UK. I saw, I think it was Refunction Crafts. I will find out who it is and I'll link that in the description box below. But I saw her make these beautiful jeweled hummingbirds, and I think she does butterflies and bees, just using decoupage, basically paper. So I had some AI birds that I had designed, and I thought, wow, I'll cut these out. I got my Cricut to cut them out. So I've cut 4 layers and I've reversed it and done the same. And I'm going to make, well, I'm basically just playing. I'm going to make a very similar thing as she did. I think she made hers into plant picks. I just want mine to hang. I've got some bits and pieces here. This is little flowers, roses. I've got some crystals. These are like crystal teardrops. They're beads, and these are just I can't say it, AB crystals, so I'm going to just call them that. And I've got some little star sequins, some heart sequins. This is a rhinestone ribbon. It's self-adhesive, so you can chop that up and use that. I've got little pearls, half pearls. This is a glitter nail varnish, which I absolutely love for paper craft. You get encapsulated glitter. And again, some more rhinestones in various sizes. I've got coloured sequins. So I'm going to play with some UV resin and see if I can make these into something very pretty that I can hang from my bird feeder. Right, got my paintbrush. I'm going to start by giving this a coat of the UV resin. I'm just going to use a brush to spread this out. If you tilt it to the light, you can see whether you've missed any areas and get the shine. Artificial lights, obviously. Don't want this exposed to the sunlight until you're ready. Or a UV lamp. Do make sure that whatever lamp you're using doesn't have UV. Some of them do. Okay, I'm just going to let that sit for a few seconds because I've put bubbles in there. So keep my brush out of the way, and I'm just going to expose this to my lamp. So back in a minute. Okay, that's one. So the next layer, I'm going to do the same, and that will be able to fit over here, and I'm going to space them a little bit. So it's a bit like traditional decoupage if you've done that, 3D decoupage. So let me pop this over to the side, and then I can go ahead and do the same to this. And I'm going to do that to all of the pieces, and then I can get on to the fun part, which will be to layer them up and to decorate them. So you've seen me do this before. I'm going to cut this out and do the rest off camera, and I'll be back once they're all done. Okay, so I've given these a coat, all of them, on the front and the back so that they are sealed. And now I want to glue the 2 main pieces together. So I'm going to use some B7000 glue. And if I'd have thought about it, because this is the first time I'm doing it, I'm just winging this, I probably could have stuck the 2 pieces together, the paper, before I sealed that and resined just those 2 pieces together. But this is okay, this works. This is give it extra strength. And just try and line that up now so that I get the feathers and the beak. I only want 1 beak. And try and get the tail all lined up. There we go. And now I need to leave this to harden up. So I'm going to set that off to the side and have a look at these for now. So I've got to figure out, they graduate in size just a tiny bit. So I've got to make sure that I have them in the right order. And I've also got to figure out how I want to glue these together, because I do want a little bit of dimension in between them. Normally when you are 3D decoupaging in paper craft, you'd do something like a foam tape or something, but I don't really want that outside. So the other thing I've got is, it's a pin flare glue. It's a silicone, well, actually it says it's silicone free, but it sort of dries like very much like silicone. It is weatherproof, it's waterproof. This is extremely old though, so I could use some of that. That gives you dimension. So if I put some of that, it's like a gel on here. Let me get my, okay, that's going to give me some dimension. I don't really want it, this is transparent, but you don't really want it to be visible. Okay, pop that there. Let's put the next layer on. Just zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And now I can lay this next layer on. So I'm going to be gluing all of these up, and then obviously they've got a set, so there's a little bit of dimension there. It's very minimal, but you can see that it is lifted up. So I'm going to put them, is that the smallest one? Looks like. I'll pop this onto the back. Okay, there we go. And I'll support the tails afterwards by filling it up with a little bit of the glue, the UV glue. Just line all those tails up and the heads. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same to the other side, and then once all these pieces are dried, I can glue them together to create one bird. Okay, so these are all dry now, and I need to stick these on. I don't think I need any more dimension here, so I'm just going to use the B7000 glue rather, and I'm going to flat glue these on, or as flat as possible, because the wing is slightly curved and will not lay flat on here. So you can see it's curved up, and that's fine. I can fill that later. Once this is set, I can fill that with some resin, and that'll give it some support. This is quite strong, so I'm just going to arrange that the way I want it. And you can see I've got a lot of depth. So now I need to leave that to firm up. It's going to take around 45 minutes, an hour, and then I will be able to put that on the other side in exactly the same way. Okay, so this is now completely glued and I am ready to play. You can see all the layers, and I don't know which way I like it, but I'm going to have it this way for now. So I'm ready to start sticking things on. I've got, these were for, I had them for a wedding that I went to, for putting in my hair. So I'm going to use some of these, and I think I can probably slide that in there and tuck that round. So I'm going to add that and I will glue that in. And the way I'm going to do that is with some, I've got some Jade Diction high viscosity, so I'm just going to grab some gloves. Be right back. Right, back, got some gloves on. So I'm going to open that. And I'm going to put some inside there. So just going to squirt a little bit in. And let it run in there. And now I've got my UV torch here. So I'm going to set that using the torch, just flash curing it. I'm not curing it fully. And then I will put this under my lamp in a minute. I just want that to hold that in place, stop that from running. That's why I'm using the high viscosity as well. I don't want this to run out the other side and leave me with blobs. Right, I'm going to pop that under my lamp and I'll be back when that's cured. Okay, that's fixed now. I got these pretty little roses and some leaves, and I got those from Temu, so I think I'm going to use these rather than these flowers, which are a little big for this design. So again, I'm going to be using some UV resin, only this time I'm going to be using this bonding resin to try and fix these in place. So I want to put a tiny bit in there. Get that in there. And then I can put, well, I hope I can put, may not actually stick. Tuck that leaf in there. And I want to tuck that leaf up in there. And again with my torch, try and get in there. So basically I'm just going to be playing now and building up the bling, trying to make this look pretty. Not that it doesn't already. Right, back under the lamp. Okay, just said maybe I will use one of these just to plug a gap, but I don't want it to be white, so I'm using a Copic alcohol marker just to colour this. That's the great thing about having the white flowers, is that you can colour them. And that's a pretty good match for those colours. So it is significantly larger than the other flower. I just wanted to block that sort of gap because this is at an angle. I should have bent it before I tucked it round really, but I didn't. So can I fit that in there? I don't want to cover up that leaf completely. Oops, bit of an odd shape this thing. They are beads actually. We can hold that in place and add the resin to the back. And again with the torch, maybe that will be enough to hold that in place. Okay, that's firmly attached now. So that's a good start. But I've got some of this, it's nail varnish, glitter nail varnish, and I'm going to use that. I love this. I use this quite a lot for paper crafting. If I want to add some glitter, basically it's a glue and a glitter all in one. So I'm just going to pop that on the end of my wings here. Just a tiny amount. And perhaps on the tail as well. And I'm just going to leave that to dry. I'm thinking while it is still wet, maybe I'll add a few stars as well. And that should stick to that to that nail varnish and hold it in place. I don't want too many. Maybe one more there. And you can just about see them in better light. So just let this set now and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I think it's looking good. I'm going to add perhaps one of these sticky gems here, but I don't really trust the glue on it, so I am going to use some UV resin to stick it down. It's also got something sticking out the edge of it. What is that? Probably a bit of the glue. So well, it's pretty darn sticky, I have to say. I have used the B7000 glue in the past to stick these down, but that's resulted in the foil on the back kind of rippling, and then it changes the look of the gem. So I'm going to put a blob of this bonding resin right here, and then I'm going to put this in place if I can get it off my glove. Yeah, on it there. And my torch. Actually, if I tip it upside down, maybe the resin will fall onto it. Let's get in the back there. Right, I've decided I just want to balance that a bit, so I'm going to add another leaf. I'm just going to use glue for that. Put a little blob there. And then I'm going to lay that in there. And I found these little flowers, and I've just cut off some of these pieces here. So I've got some that look like little beads, and this one is just sort of straight. So I want to add those as well. I'm going to use the glue to add them because I need to get right under here, and that's going to make things difficult. If I use the UV, I won't be able to set that. So I'm going to squirt some glue in there, and then I can set these pieces in. Okay, yeah, that's going to be fine. So again, that needs to dry for a little while. Okay, so I want to fill in these gaps, and I was going to do it with UV resin, but that's going to take a lot of UV resin because you can see there's quite a lot of gaps. So I'm going to be using my hot glue gun instead, and I could have used this actually to make my layers as well. I hadn't thought about it until now. So that's why we do things, we learn as we go. So I just want to make sure that I keep this hidden, and any of these little stringy bits I can cut off or melt off with a heat gun, but hopefully that will, I can fill up most of this, and then that will give it extra support. And it will also allow me to attach my my hook or the ring for hanging, because I want to hang this. Now, in order to do that, to hang it, I need to find its balance point, and you would think it would be on the wing, but it isn't. The nose is tipping down, so I think it's going to be somewhere around here. So I'm just trying to hold it by one tiny part of my tweezers, just so I can find out where I might have to put the hook. Just trying to grab a little bit of the my tweezers are bent on the end, so I can't actually grab anything. So I think that might be it. I think it's going to be around here. I think the hook is going to have to sort of come out there. So I will embed that now before I carry on. Right, I've got a head pin with a hook on the end, and I want to put that in there, and I'm guessing I'm going to want it to sort of come out about there. So I'm going to chop the bottom of this off, and I've just got some snips to do that with. Now I want to put a hook on the end of that. That will help it not to slip out. So I'm going to try and slide that in. Hopefully I've still got space, and I should have done it really before I started filling it up with glue. But yeah, that's in there. Sorry, it's really difficult for me to show you this, but I'm going to try and get some glue down inside that hole. Just use my tweezers to push that down because I didn't grab something else. A little silicone spatula would have been better. Okay, that's hanging now in the right place. So I'm going to carry on filling around the areas here with my glue gun as best I can. I don't have to do all of it. I just want to do some of it where they are unsupported. Like, there's a really big gap down there, so I want to try and fill that a little bit. Put a blob in. And get rid of all these little tiny pieces, anything else that's not supported, like this tail here. All along the length of that tail is not supported. So if I put a blob in there, I can squeeze that together a little bit. Might need a bit more. Now, I'm not worried if this does protrude along the edge here. I can just heat up a craft knife and smooth that flat so that it will you know, go back below the surface. So I'm not that worried if I do get it a little bit too far beyond the edge, but that's looking pretty good. And yeah, I think that's absolutely beautiful. So I need to now replicate this cluster on this side. Okay, I've finished. So that's the first side, and I couldn't replicate it exactly. I could have taken a photo and tried to, but I didn't really want to. So here's the second side, and that will now be able to hang up. I think I'm going to actually put it indoors rather than outdoors. I think it would be robust enough. I don't know about some of the little plants here, but you know, I want to enjoy this all the time. So I'm going to hang this somewhere in my house, and it can spin in the breeze. But I absolutely am in love with this, and I'm definitely going to be making more of these. If you've loved this video, please give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't. There is a QR code up here which you can use to subscribe. Just scan that with your phone or click the little button underneath the video. Thank you so much for watching. Come back and see what I'm going to be making next time.